It is Valentine's Day. Welcome to Zennurgy, the interactive podcast providing resources for building a better life. I am Zennurgy. I'm your conduit, your coach, and your catalyst to that better life. A conduit provides a connection, a catalyst sparks change, and a coach draws out hidden potential in a subject. So it is Valentine's Day. So we're going to be talking about connection today. And the connection actually that I have today is with one of my Facebook friends. And his name is Raymond Tibbs. So say hi to the people.
Hey, how everybody doing out there today? Happy Valentine's Day to everyone.
All right. So I am, if we have any comments, it should show up on the screen. So we will see how things go. But so I asked you if you wanted to come on today on Valentine's Day and talk about relationships. And what was your first thought when I asked you that question?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I just told everybody that you're my Facebook friend, but I got to actually be a little more descriptive than that because we are both in a singles group on Facebook. And, what do you think about singles groups just in general? What do you think?
I think it's a great way to meet people. I mean, if they're serious, I think it's a great way. You have people that are really busy and really can't go out and meet people the traditional way. So yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Everybody's on social media anyway, so why not?
Okay. Yeah, everybody is on social media. I remember when I first got on social media and people were like, I don't want to meet anybody on Facebook. I mean, they could be weird. And I was like, the same people are on Facebook that are out in the world. It's like not a different group of people. So, yeah, but I thought that was really weird. It's like, it's the same group of people. It's the same group of people that you meet anywhere else in church. It's not a different group of people. So I always thought it was kind of weird when people said that,
I agree. I fully agree.
And we actually met because I think there was some post that somebody put up for guys to put their pictures out there. And you put this picture out there and I was like, ooh. And I sent you a DM and I was like, what did I say? I said something like, damn, that was a hell of a picture. That was a hell of a picture. That's what I put.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what you wrote. Yeah, and then I responded to you and we were chatting back and forth, and then you went ahead and you like I said, you knew you had me when you put your voice up. So you sent me a voice message through the messenger, and I was like, damn. I'm like, wait, hold on, let me give you my number real quick. So, because that voice caught me. You knew it too.
Well, I mean, when I sent you that message, when I said, damn, that was a hell of a picture, I didn't actually expect you to respond. I really didn't. I sent it I think it was 11:46 at night. And you responded like an hour later, a little bit less than an hour later. And I was like, oh, he actually responded. And you were like,
yeah, I'm like one of those guys.
Thank you. I think that's what you said. Thank you. I think. I think that was a compliment. And I was like, yeah, it was definitely a compliment. And then I sent you a voice message and you sent me your number and I was like, And so we actually chatted that night we talked, I called you on your number.
Yeah.
We talked that night for 5 or 6 hours.
That we did.
And I was like, wow. I was like, oh gosh, he's intelligent. He's handsome and he's in New York. What the hell? What? What is this? This is crazy.
Yeah, we say that all the time. That's like God's joke.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this guy is so cool. And then we talked every day after that for the longest time for months. And then, we had to get back to our normal lives. And so we didn't talk for a while and then we got back. So that was July, the 11th, I think I looked at Messenger. And so now this is February 14th and we still talk all the time.
All the time. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And we both had this conversation I don't believe in long distance relationships.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, we both said the same thing.
Yeah, but we were like, but you're cool. I still want to talk to you. I still want to hang out with you. You know, I would love to meet you one day.
Well,
You
I'll
know,
be out in Texas soon enough. I will definitely be out there soon enough. I got family and opportunities out there, so we definitely will link up.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I know that there are a lot of people on Facebook that they have similar stories in terms of like they see somebody in a group and that person's all the way across the country. And some people try the long distance relationships. Have you ever tried it?
No, not really. I mean, there are people that you're attracted to physically, and you might get a chance to speak to them, and that distance is tough. I'm a hands-on type of guy. Like I'm a touchy-feely type of guy. So, the fact that I can't touch you and feel you or whatever, whenever I would want to, that would become kind of frustrating for me. So, yeah, I try not to jump into that too often. I try not to even get into really engage in conversation with people outside of New York. Unless they're like 2 hours away or something like that, then I'm like, maybe I can make that trek. But with work and the work schedule and just everyday life, is like it just really makes it hard. You have to really be disciplined for something like that. Like that's something that you really have to be dedicated to in regards to communication, in regards to just reaching out. And I guess for me at this stage with my work schedule and then, with me doing what I do with my children and everything, like I'm just not there. So
Yeah, I did it. I tried once and it was with somebody that I dated for 6 months here. And then he moved and he still was in Texas, but he was hours away. And the first time, like, in a sense, he stood me up, like he was supposed to come to Houston and didn't come and didn't call, didn't like let me know he wasn't coming. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not, because there was too much buildup. It was like we hadn't seen each other in like a month. And then he was supposed to be there and didn't happen. And I didn't hear from him till like a few days later. I was like, nah, this is not my style. I can't.
yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough. It takes a lot of discipline. I really applaud those that try it. And I applaud those that have succeeded, but if I'm feeling somebody and if it's a long distance thing, eventually I'm going to have to shorten the distance. And then now it takes a lot of, and now it's to the point, once you get to that point, now it's compromise. Like, okay, if you're making a certain amount of money here, but you go there, are you going to make the same amount of money? Will this person, weather, like there's a lot of variables that go behind it. You know what I mean? You should know about the weather part.
I know. We were talking about that last night. You were like,
Yeah, you should.
okay, I heard you got a cold snap coming, so let's see if you can hang with New York weather. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been in my house. I haven't even wanted to go outside because I'm just. I was outside yesterday. I told you I was outside yesterday. It was like 40 degrees. And I'm thinking, oh, it's too damn cold. It's too cold.
And it's 40, and that's 40, and 40 in New York is like, okay, it's like a nice day.
I can't
40 degrees is nice.
We're supposed to be 17 degrees tomorrow, and I can't even wrap my head around that number. So,
yeah, and that's what we're accustomed to up here.
So it's like, man, I like you, but I don't know. I don't know if I can deal with it.
Hey, I'm not even mad at you. I'm not even mad at you. It takes a certain type of blood to make it out here in the city, so I fully understand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, I put this whole list together. I showed you the list, like when I did the Facebook post of like all the stuff that we could talk about. And so one of the things that I had put on the list was friends with benefits. That's something that comes up in Facebook groups a lot. And people I find that it's like, in a sense, controversial. Like there are people who don't even believe it exists. Like they think that people are making this up. Like nobody does this. And there are people who think it's like normal and everybody does it. And then there are people that are like, oh, that's so immoral. And then there are people like, it's so practical. So it's like you have this wide gamut of like responses to it, And do you think that there's a divide between men and women on this topic? Do you think that one gender is more accepting of it than others?
I think it's based on perception and perspective. I think you have a lot of, and I've met women that have approached me with it, um, because, like you said, of the practicality. They might have gotten out of a long-term relationship that kind of ended badly or whatever, but they also realize that at the end of the day, they still want some sort of human interaction, even if it's not a committed one. So I guess it's, like I said, it's based upon perspective and perception. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on how you look at it. You know, it's uh it's a quick fix to an itch. If, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with it as long as the two people are responsible, and when they walk into it, they're fully aware that the commitment isn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they find someone and they're like, hey, I'm in a relationship now, this can't go on, that the other person understands, hey, I knew what I got into before anything. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's all about perspective and perception.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that it's you're right about perception, but I think it's about communication also. And I think you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself because there are some people who think they can do it, guys and women, and they can't. As soon as that intimacy happens, then the feelings come. So you have to be that kind of person that can compartmentalize and say, okay, this part of my life is just practical. This is a practical thing that I'm doing. I have my rules about how I'm going to do this. Because I think you have to have rules. You have to have rules. There's no way to do it without rules. And then, I'm going to keep this separate from my goals for a relationship or my desires for a relationship is a totally separate thing. And if you're not the person that can do that, then it's not something you should mess with because you will get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what they tend to do is they tend to merge the feelings. So they'll go ahead and they'll be dealing with this person sexually, but and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we should go and we should hang out. We should totally go out. We should do something. And you're like, okay, that's not part of the rules. That's not what it's supposed to be. Like, you call me when you're ready. I call you when I'm ready. And then that's what we do. But now all of a sudden you're calling me up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon talking about, hey, let's go to the movies or something. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but once you get to that area, it becomes really, really gray, and then the feeling starts to, it starts to sway, and then you basically, leaving the script, I guess, from that perspective. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that like any agreement, you have to revisit it. There may be FWB relationships where the person can deal with that. They can hang out with the person and not get the feelings. And there are others, people that are like, no, it's got to be like you just said. You call me, I call you. If we're not doing the deed, don't call me.
Absolutely.
So everyone is different, and they have to deal with what they have to deal with. They have to decide their rules. So I mean, it's an interesting thing. Do you think that dating is different now? Well, we can talk about dating during COVID, but just like since you and I both been married, we got divorced. Do you feel like dating is very different now than it was before you got married years ago?
Yeah, definitely. Well, social media it's a really big component because now you have access to millions of people at your fingertips. So meeting people is a lot easier, and it takes a lot less courage now than it did back then. Like it took for us as men, it took us as I mean, you got some guys that really didn't care, but it took us some courage to walk up to a woman and be like, "Hey, what's your name?" or "Hey, how you doing?" With that, that possibility of being rejected. You know, um, physical rejection and social media rejection is totally, two totally different things, in my opinion. Now you have like I said, you could just go ahead and now you have the strength in numbers, so you can go ahead and you can literally go and you can say and you can shoot the shot with 20 different women at one time. And at this point, it's like, okay, which one will say hello first? Whereas back in the day, you didn't have that. And then secondly, like you said, with this COVID situation or whatever, it really makes it tough because now everything is damn near virtual. Like, people are really afraid to really go out and just really hang out or whatever, for the sake of not catching this thing. We don't really know what's going on with it or whatever. So, going to a restaurant right now is kind of taboo to an extent. People are still doing it, those that are just not really, I'm not going to say they don't care about it, but, they're not going to let this thing stop their life and stop them from regular human social interaction. But it definitely took a toll on it. I've met women that feel like, oh no, I just can't at all. But, I'll video call you every day. We'll have virtual dates, I guess, quote unquote. So
a virtual date. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
have you had a virtual date?
I've had a couple. Yeah, they went ahead and they put the little candle light and everything like that. I thought it was really cute. I think they put a lot of effort in it.
Wow.
I think that was the really interesting and I guess the best part. They made their meal. They cooked it. And it was really cool. It was really cool. It was different. It was really, really different. I'm used to sitting across from someone and engaging in conversation, really being able to look at them and their mannerisms and everything. And now you're doing it through a computer screen, and it's like, geez, kind of crazy.
See, for me, I can't even imagine that because my whole reason for going on a date is to feel the person's vibe. And to feel how comfortable do I feel in your presence, and things that you can't tell over the phone or through a video chat. Like, I can't tell whether you smell or how you smell, because smell is, to me, a powerful aphrodisiac. A good smelling man, that's a beautiful thing. So stuff like that. If he reaches out and takes my hand, is he really rough with it or is he smooth with it? How does he move? How does he, just the whole presentation of him as a man. I'm not going to get that virtually. So I would have no desire really to do that.
Right.
In fact, even pre-COVID, when people would be like, let's video chat, I'd be like, let's meet. I mean, we can go to Starbucks. It doesn't have to be, it could be a $5 date, just because to me video chatting with you doesn't tell me anything that I can't get from a phone call. It just tells me that you are you're not catfish. That's not all it tells me.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I agree. I believe in social interaction. I think social media kind of took that away from us, and it's easier to text. And some people don't even like video calling. Like, they're not at all. Like, if you try, they'll be like, no, that's not what I want to do. So social media kind of hit us behind the screen and hit us behind the telephone, and it doesn't necessarily require us to interact humanly anymore. No physical interaction is necessary. And I think in order for you to find any type of connection or anything, it has to be some sort of human physical interaction in order for it to work. But now, again, with social media, and now you throw on COVID, the introverts are loving it. The introverts
well, I'm an introvert. I'm not loving it.
The introverts are losing their minds right now. They're like, yes, it's our time,
Yeah, so, I know. I'm in a couple of introvert groups and they are saying stuff like that, but not, I'm the kind of introvert where when I'm ready to go out, I'm ready to go out. When I'm ready to socialize, I'm ready to socialize. Now, I need my time away from people. I need that. I must have that, because after a while, I don't, it's like I get too much people stuff. I can't deal with the people stuff. I got to get away from people. But the idea of not being able to interact with people, I'm not that kind of introvert where that doesn't bother me. I don't know I'm maybe somewhere in the middle on the introvert, timeline or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard. I'm both, I guess. There are times when I just want to be alone, secluded, an occasional phone call or two, and then and then there are times when I just really need to be out, and I do need to be around people, and I want to be around people, So I guess I'm somewhat in the middle when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to dating, she has to be in front of me. Like she has to be in front of me. Like I should be able to grab something, put my hands on something. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, dating now and dating from before I got married, yeah. Because I mean, my, I met my ex on the 2 train on the platform. You know, now you have people that are meeting on Tinder,
Yeah.
and Facebook dating, and it's like two totally different worlds.
Yeah, shoot, when I first got divorced, I tried like 7 different dating apps, and uh I got off of all of them. I'm still on Facebook dating, but I just basically deleted all my other profiles because I just was like, and I only get on Facebook dating very rarely because I learned that, number one, for me, internet dating was not a good thing because it seemed like it brought out the worst in the people that I encountered. They seemed to, you mentioned already that idea that I can just hit 20 women and let's see who's the first to respond. Well, to me, on the dating sites, it went to a whole different level. It was almost like the guys that were responding were like, oh, my inbox is going to be full later on. So what are you offering? That very direct, I'm not even going to bother with you unless you're pitching me something that is interesting to me.
What
And
it does,
that
it
was
definitely
something I
evens.
was prepared for. I was not ready for
Yeah, it
that
evens the
kind of
playing
thing.
field. Yeah, it definitely evens the playing field to an extent, especially if he's considered universally attractive. You have people that are just personally like you're attracted to that particular person, but when you person next to you look at you like, what the hell you seeing him? You know. Then
Yeah.
you got that universal appeal. Like the Beyoncés and the Rihannas and whatever man is has a universal appeal. So it kind of evens. It kind of like it levels the playing field because back in the day, the women had the advantage.
Mm.
You know, they I was told a woman can have who she wants. A man can only have how was it? A man can only have
Who wants him?
yeah, something similar to it.
Mm.
It was stated another way. But now it kind of like evens the playing field to an extent. Especially if he looks a certain way and he acts a certain way online, it could be a total facade. Could be a
That's true.
it could be a total mistruth at that point. But
Yeah.
what he brings forth to the table in regards to his online presence, he can have 20, 30 women hitting him up at the same time. And now he has the pick of the litter. Whereas back in the day, that was all women. It
Yeah.
was all women.
It's an interesting thing. Like I said, I kind of saw, in a sense, the worst in it. So after a while, I saw that it was making me jaded and very critical. And I was like, this is not for me because it's bringing out the worst in me. It's making me have a negative attitude about dating. And I was like, so I need to get away from this. And so I deleted basically all my profiles and I stayed on Facebook dating just because it was right there with Facebook and it was something I didn't check from, very often or deal with. But just, I guess, because I didn't want to give up completely, it kind of felt like here's a compromise. I'm not going to give up completely. And then I
Right.
went into the Facebook dating groups and singles groups, which was kind of interesting because there you get to see people's profiles, see what they post, see what they comment. You get a better feel for who the person is. And so that kind of also to me was a way. And I know a lot of them have. I went to a couple of meet and greets
Mhm.
with some of the singles groups. which were interesting. It was interesting. I haven't been to one in a very long time, even though some of the groups are still having them, because I've been busy with the podcast and doing different things. But yeah, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works for some. It definitely works for some. I've seen people in them dating groups and now they're married and, living happily ever after. And then you have those that have been there since the inception of the group and they're still talking the same thing, how they're trying to find love. So, I guess it's what you put into it is what you get out of it.
That's true. There were several. I used to be in a lot more Facebook dating groups, but I left several because there was a lot of bitterness and negativity. And I didn't want to be in a group that was constantly men attacking women, women attacking men. I was like, oh, this is not, not for me.
At the end of the day, we're still human. That man versus woman conversation will be forever.
Mm.
Men base it upon their experiences, women base it upon theirs, and it's not all good all the time. And you have some men that are, they've had a couple of bad apples and they think the whole bunch is messed up, and vice versa. So yeah, there are, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Is all based on how it's expressed. Not all women are bad, not all men are bad, and I'm speaking in regards to black men, because that's the only race I can really identify with. And I've heard so many negatives about black men in regards to the treatment of black women that is not even funny.
Mm.
And
yeah.
a lot of that stuff is pushed in the group, when you have certain questions that are put out there. To me, some of the questions are kind of redundant to an extent because it doesn't necessarily reflect what they're on this, in the group for. You're in the group to find somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So certain things are just, some of the questions and some is just redundant to me. It doesn't necessarily go with the criteria of the group.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I remember this was years ago, probably like 4 years ago. I was actually on a date and it was a meet and greet. We were at Starbucks and this guy is black guy. Of course, I just date black guys. I don't deal with any other race. So, and he said,
thank you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Well, I'll go back to him in a minute. But when I was in college, I went out with one white guy and it was nothing wrong with it, whatever. But I realized after I had kids and after I had been married to a black man and it didn't work the first time, I said, you know what? I feel as a black woman with children, with black sons, it's my duty to show an example of black love that works. And when I got married again, and the one thing that my ex-husband and I did really well was we parented our children. We loved our children. We worked together as a team. And I felt like, if I did one thing right, I did that right.
Right.
I always felt like whatever happens in the future, I always want to be able to bring whoever my sons meet that I'm dating or whatever, that person has to be of a certain caliber, in terms of he's got to be intelligent. He's got to have things going for him. He's got to be ambitious. There's a certain standard because I want my sons to say, okay, there are black men out here who are worthy and, reliable, responsible, honorable, these kind of things. And so even if that dating relationship doesn't work, the one thing that I feel good about is that the people that I brought around my kids, even though they're grown now, I felt like they learned something from them. They saw a good example of manhood because I always wanted, to me, young people need, in a sense, role models. You know what I mean? So that was the thing, when I look at you, right? One of the things that I'm saying to myself is this a person that I would be proud to bring around my sons? Mm-hmm. And of course, with you, the answer is unequivocally hell yes, So, yeah, so that's something that I've always thought of and it always wanted to be around Black men. But going back to this date, so we're on this date and, we're talking about interracial dating for some reason. And I said, no, I don't do that. And he goes, well, I'm here with you and I'm having a great time. I don't think that we're really compatible because we just had a lot of differences. He was like, but I've been really tempted to give up on Black women because I've never really felt supported by one. And that just kind of I was like, oh my God, what are you kidding? And it hurt my heart so much. This man was like 40 something years old. And he was like, I've never felt supported by Black women. I've always felt like all they do is look at us and see the worst in us and criticize us and say that we're not about anything and all this. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what can I do? Not, in terms of we're not going to be dating, but what can I do to try to make you feel supporting? I don't want you to leave here feeling like that. And
you're looking to take on the responsibility of every Black woman on the planet to make sure that he's okay.
So bad. And I actually wrote a poem called "An Ode to a Black Man" that night, and I posted it on Facebook. And I posted an apology. And I said, just in case there's another Black man out there who's never felt supported by Black women, I want to say, I love you. I feel that you're beautiful. I feel that you've been through a lot. You go through a lot. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. I'm a Black woman. We get it enough. But I feel like Black men get it even worse.
We get it tough. I mean, what I'll say is this. As Black men, to our Black women, we're held to a higher standard. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And in regards to him feeling, and that's not to take anything away from him, because if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. I've dealt with Black women virtually my whole life. It was nothing but support. We might not have made it as a couple. We might not have made it as, we might not have made it romantically, but the support was always there. The friendship, the camaraderie, the communication, it was there. Even if it was negative at times, but you're going to go through that through any relationship. It doesn't matter what the relationship, you're going to go through bad times. He just met the wrong people. He just met the wrong person.
Yeah.
I love my Black women. I do. I adore them. They go through a lot from us professionally. Like y'all go through a whole lot. And the support should come from both, from both ends, but there has to be a mutual respect there as well.
Yeah.
And I feel that if the respect isn't there from the beginning, then, it's doomed for failure anyway.
Yeah.
No matter what no matter how you get it. You have people that walk into situations coming from a bad situation and they haven't even had the opportunity to truly heal.
Yeah.
They haven't had the opportunity to really go and really deal with the stuff that they're dealing with. So when you walk into them type of situations, you're not even at 100%.
Yeah.
You're not at 100%. So when you have that type of situation or whatever, he met people and they weren't supportive. The first thing he needs to figure out is what type of support is he looking for.
Good question.
Needs to figure out. He needs to figure out what it is that he's looking for from a woman. Period. In order for him to truly move on. And like I said, I'm not trying to, downplay what he's been through or anything like that, because that would be kind of wrong of me. But if every woman that he's met and he's in his 40s and he felt that he hasn't been supported, like, perhaps at that point you might want to look in the mirror and try to figure out exactly what type of woman are you attracting that has you to the point where every woman you've met aren't, they're not supporting. That goes both ways. That goes both ways. I believe the universe puts forth what you put out.
Yeah.
So I love my Black women, good, bad, or indifferent. The respect is always there, for the Black woman. I cherish them. I truly do. I cherish the Black woman over there because, like I said, that's like we've been through a lot. So have they.
Yeah.
So have they. Y'all have been put through the ringer too. And the sad part is we put you through the ringer as well as Black men. But it goes both ways. Black women have, I've been in situations where I've been cheated on and I've been, verbally abused. One tried to physically abuse me. Try to throw up her hands and whatnot, thinking she could, swing with the boy. But, you got good and bad in everything. You know what I mean? And if you feel to yourself that you have to leave to find what you're looking for, then so be it. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. Me personally, if she can't use my comb, I can't bring her home. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And I have no issue with any race of woman.
Yeah.
If God brought forth a French German chick with blue eyes and I fell in love with her, then what can I do?
Yeah.
But I don't expect that to happen. That's not my preference. So, it just depends. But, like I said, what you put forth out in the universe is what comes back to you. And that's when you have to look in the mirror.
I agree with you on that. And I've come to you with like some of my struggles and things like that. And you have been super supportive of me on everything, giving me
I'm
great
super
advice.
proud of you. I am super proud of you. From the time we spoke to where you are right now, I tell you all the time, I am so proud of you. I am super proud of you. And I'm definitely blessed to know you. You know what I mean? I think you're an amazing woman. You're an amazing person. I love your drive. I love your perseverance and your willingness to learn. When you first got into this podcast game, I remember you talking about it. I'm like, go, get her done. Just do it. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like your biggest advocate. Like, don't even think about it. Just get out there and just get your name out there, and do what you need to do. And now look at you now. You're amazing. You're definitely a role model for those that are out there. For those that are out there listening, for real, if this is something that you want to do, if this is something that you really want to get into with the communication and the podcasting, I'm telling you, she's the girl to talk to because I'm telling you, I was there from the very beginning when she first started.
Yeah, you were there when I signed up for the class, and I was telling you my fears, my worries.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember all of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were there from the beginning. So every time I got nervous, scared, you were like, "What is this? You got this." I'm like, I can hear your voice in my head. You got this. You got this.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was the PG. You're telling the PG-13 version right now.
I'm telling the PG-13 version,
Yeah, you're telling the PG version right now. But yeah, you definitely. I mean, your growth has been amazing, and it's been amazing to watch. And again, I want to thank you for even having me on your show. I've been trying to get on your show for a minute now. You would wait till Valentine's Day to put me on, but okay.
Yeah, because I love you. I love you.
Put me on Valentine's Day.
You.
Let the whole world know I'm single. That's okay.
Hey, if you lived in Houston, you wouldn't be single, but oh well, what can we do? What can we do? You know what I mean?
I hear you.
We can just be friends, Yeah, but I mean, when I look at our relationship, it gives me a lot of hope for a lot of things because I look at, you have a person that comes in your life. They're not going to, in a sense, get anything from you but communication, but they put their time, their energy, their effort into making you a better person and encouraging you, lifting you up, just whenever you get away from who you're supposed to be, they shine that light on, look, let me show you a mirror. This is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing, and I feel grateful because I know that having, you were talking about healing a little while ago. There are people that come into your life and they help you heal and they help you move forward. And then there's work that you have to do on yourself. You have to take complete responsibility for yourself and say, okay, I may not be to blame for everything that happened to me, but I am responsible to fix the damage of whatever has happened so that I don't take it out on the next person. I don't take it out on my children. I'm not a negative, influence on anybody. So I have to do whatever the work is, whether that's books, going to counseling, journaling, going to church for some people, whatever the journey is, getting Zennurgy Your Life, Volume 1, whatever the journey is, you're responsible for that. And I definitely am an advocate for healing and for just really trying to figure out the kind of person you want to be and then taking the first steps to get to that point, whatever the step is in front of you, so I'm super excited that, we're here talking about all these things, and then also just for whatever is going to happen in the future. Now, speaking of like relationships and all of that, to me, it's kind of crazy in 2021 that it seems like abstinence is something that keeps popping up on these Facebook media feeds. What do you think about that? These single people that decide, now they may have been in relationships, married, whatever, and now they're like, I'm abstinent till I get married.
Ooh, abstinence. Ooh, the new virgin, huh? Geez. If that's what you feel that you need to do to move on, if that's what you feel that's necessary, for the betterment of you, if you feel deprivation is the way to go, then it is what it is. I don't knock nobody for it. Everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
Everybody has their different journey. I think that if that's something that you feel to yourself that's necessary for you to be in a healthy space mentally, then that's what you do. And who am I or anyone else to tell them anything different?
Right.
Do I think it's absolutely necessary? I don't know. I really can't. This is a tough question, and we've spoke about this a couple of times.
Yeah.
And my potty mouth. You know how I feel. But I mean, the reasoning behind it, like I said, it's all it's all inner, it's all innate. And if they feel to themselves that, now I'm not saying go out there and be a hoe, and go out there and sleep with everybody, but do I believe that it's necessary, absolutely necessary to go a long period of time without? No. I don't think that's necessary at all. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think that's going to change your mindset. You are who you are. I think you're not sleeping with people, or not, engaging in sexual activity. I don't think it's going to change your mindset. I mean, maybe it does, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think you depriving yourself from what God intended is going to change your outlook in regards to relationship, or will it even going to change your approach? I might have a whole bunch of haters after this one, but I don't think it's necessary at all. I'm not saying go out there and be, absolutely promiscuous at this point. But I mean, for you to deprive yourself over something that, that's human. You know what I mean? It's a human act, and people put a lot of emphasis into it or whatever. Is it supposed to be, with somebody you care about or whatever? Yeah. Idealistically, that will be an ideal scenario.
Yeah.
You fall in love with somebody, and that's the only person that you've been with, and that's it.
Well, as you said, and I think you said it perfectly, I think everybody's journey is different. I think every single person has the right to choose what they do with it. With he or she has the right to choose what is done with their body, and nobody has to get anybody's permission for that. But I will say, as a person who grew up as a teenager, decided to stay abstinent till I graduated college. Almost, I think I was like 2 months away from graduation before I had sex for the first time. Speaking from that perspective, it's one of the few regrets that I have in my life. I feel had I had more experience, because going through college, going through high school, and not having sexual relationships, what it did was it narrowed my experience with men to the men who would put up with that. And because of that, it made me naive. All right. This is my personal experience. I was naive. I did not know. I did not know how to gauge a man and gauge his personality and all of the things that you really need to look at. And then when I began to have sex, it was such a novel thing for me that it did impact my judgment. But I think had I not had that experience, I would have made very different decisions. I don't regret, my children or any of the things that happened, and the fact that, I was married to the man that I had, children with, but and I didn't have sex till I was engaged, but people who kind of they advocated as if there's no cost to it, that it's all upside. It's all upside. You're abstinent and everything's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's a cost to any decision. Having sex has costs and risks, and being abstinent has costs and risks.
Mm-hmm.
One of the costs and risks is that you have a limited time on this earth. And there's no guarantee that you're going to meet Mr. Right or Miss Right. There's no guarantee that when you meet them, that everything is going to function exactly the way you want it to function. One of the things that I regretted is when I got married, there was a lot of erectile dysfunction in my marriage. And I had to deal with the fact that, in a sense, I had waited. And now I can't even have sex. Now I'm waiting for a totally different reason, and it's not voluntary. And that's another thing that people aren't thinking about, is that especially if you're in your 30s or 40s and you're abstinent, you could be giving up your best sexual life in terms of by the time you meet somebody, who knows what, your body will be going through, menopause, perimenopause, whatever, who knows what his body will be going through. People don't think about that, Having been on the receiving end of 9 years of dealing with erectile dysfunction, it is not a pretty picture. And don't think that there's a little blue pill that's going to solve everything. It doesn't work for everybody, and it's extremely expensive. So speaking as a person who had to, in a sense, fund a lot of that trial and error with all kinds of medications and different things. Oh, that's a lot of money, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So, there's two sides to every coin. And when people go into something, my goal as a person who's on social media, as a person who talks about issues, is for you to say, hey, look at the whole picture. Look at the whole picture and make the best decision for you.
Right. Right.
Not having some pie in the sky, everything is going to be perfect because I do this mentality, because it may be perfect, it may be wonderful, and it may backfire, So just have all the facts and really think about, what you're doing and what you're, in a sense, I guess, advising other people to do.
Yeah, I think also, people go ahead and people tend to say that sex is overrated. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth.
Hmm.
You know, I think I posed this question to you before, so I'm going to pose it so that the whole world to hear it. Percentage wise,
Uh-huh.
how important of a factor do you think sex plays in a relationship?
I can only speak for myself. I
Okay.
would say that sexual compatibility is okay. I always say this. It takes chemistry, compatibility, and great communication for me to even want to have a relationship with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get to the point where I want to commit to that person, then I'm going to have sex with that person. And if we're not sexually compatible, there is no relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's make or break. If we have, let's say we're firing on all cylinders, we have great chemistry, we have great communication, but we don't have compatibility sexually, I will walk away.
Mm.
Some people would say that's
Mm.
crazy, that's whatever, but I have already been through 9 years of dealing with the lack of sexual compatibility, with me being the one who was fighting for the let's try this, because my husband at the time was, you know what, I've given up on that part of my life. If you want to do this battle, whatever you find, I'll try, but I'm not even putting my energy into this, because I found out after he had ED that his sex drive was not what I thought it was. His sex drive, he was matching my sex drive when everything was firing, when he was able to, perform. But once he was unable to perform, his real sex drive came out. And his real sex drive was, I can go without. I don't really need it.
Wow.
So at that point, it was like, ooh, I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one dealing with, am I attractive? Does he want me? Am I still womanly? Am I still feminine? All this insecurity, because I'm tying my femininity to our, in a sense, our sexual interaction. And if there, what people don't understand, I think a lot of people, that bond that sex creates in a relationship, it ties to a lot of things. It ties to feeling close to that person. It ties to being able to make up and get past disagreements. It ties to when you go out on a date, and at the end of the date, you want that, that close time together. It's so many things. It's not just sex. It's not just the act. It's all of the things that go along with the act. The whole kissing, the cuddling, the sexual tension when you see each other across the room, all of that goes with. And so if I'm going to give up all of that because I know that this sex, I was in a relationship and I loved this guy. I mean, he was my muse. He was one of the most gorgeous things walking on the planet. But we were completely and totally sexually incompatible. And one of the worst things in the world is having the perfect day. You've been everywhere you want to go. You've done everything you want to do. And then you're looking at him and all you want to do is make love to him. And it's going to be the worst thing ever. And it's like you can't even enjoy all the moments that have happened before, because you already know this is just going to be the worst thing ever. And no matter how much you try to teach him, how much you try to coach him, it's not happening.
Wow.
And that, to me, having been in this person doesn't have the drive that matches mine, and this person is sexually unable to satisfy me because they have no skills. Having been in those two situations with two men I desperately loved, no, I'll walk away. I will walk away.
Wow. So it's make a break. With you. Okay. So, and I can understand that. I understand that 100%.
I can't do it because it's too painful. I would rather be single and be completely unsatisfied than be in a relationship where I know that I have no hope of being satisfied and I have to be faithful. That's just, no, I can't do it. I won't even put myself in that situation because I'm not going to cheat.
Tough.
So why would I even put myself in that situation?
That's tough. That's a really, really great point. Great point. And I definitely respect your honesty, for real. Like, I admire your honesty. A lot of women don't. A lot of women don't put that type of emphasis in it. A lot of them will be like, "Oh, it's not that important." They try to sweep it under the rug, like it's not really that important to them. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact it has to be. I've seen really good relationships break up because the sex was horrible. But I've seen some toxic relationships last for an exponential amount of time because the guy was blowing her back out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you two different extremes, but it's the same, the core is the same.
Yeah.
One is good, one is bad or whatever. And you hear it all the time. It's like, I've seen situations where their man is cheating on them and everything, and because he puts it down in the bedroom, she'll stick it out, and they'll be like, "Oh, but I love him." No, it's more than that. Yeah. It's way more than that, because there's no way in the world you can love that person more than your self-respect. No way, it's impossible.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, then you need to have yourself psychologically analyzed. You need to be checked. You know what I mean? So, yeah, when you do have that type of situation where a woman feels to herself that she needs to be abstinent or whatever, she's been through some stuff. She's been through a lot of stuff. I'm gonna just say it that way, because a man is not going to think that way.
Well,
9 out of 10 men are going to be like, "What? Like, me give up what? Nah, I ain't gonna do that." I might not.
Right. I have met a few men. And one of the people always ask, why would you bring up sex within the first couple of conversations? Well, I need to know. The first couple of conversations, no, but probably by conversation 3, if I'm really feeling him, I'm going to try to ask about certain things. And what are your views on sex in dating, in a relationship?
Yeah.
And I have, during that conversation, ran across a couple of guys that said, "I'm saving it for marriage." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm not. So, we can be friends, but there's no point in us dating. I like having conversations with you. I'm not going to date you. I'm not going to date you because I don't want to get attached, and I don't want to send any mixed signals, and I don't want to waste your time." Okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking for a person. Okay. I'm not looking for a platonic situation. And if we're not going to head toward physical intimacy at some point, and you want me to commit to marrying you before we do that, no, I'm not even going to commit to being your girlfriend or your lady, So I looked at a couple of guys and they were actually, I won't say they were offended, but they were shocked. And,
that's because most women nowadays, it's either, and I can't say all, but most, I'll say 7 out of 10, it's marriage or bust. Is marriage or bust. And they'll tell you quick until, most of them will, they're not going to wait until they're married. That's just it. In this day and age, I don't think it makes any sense. With everything that's going on, it just doesn't make any, back in the day, it did, because and I know I'm probably going to set feminism back a million years, but it is what it is. A lot of women back then were very docile. They were very meek. They were very timid. So marriage to them was very, very important. Despite the dynamic of their marriage, despite the dynamics of their relationship, they were willing to put up with a lot more things, back in the day than they are right now. Right now, a woman will leave you if you leave the toilet seat down an extra amount of times. You know what I mean? Yeah. I might be exaggerating, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Right.
a lot of women nowadays are more so like, we're not going to give you wifely duties with a girlfriend status.
Mm.
And it's like, I don't get that part. Because if a man, and if any fellas is watching, if you're wrong, please chat it up. Let me know I'm wrong. You feel me? Let me know I'm wrong about this. But the majority of the men that ask a woman to marry him is already a wife in his mind.
Yeah, I agree with that because, we had this conversation, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation was, what makes me commit, all right? And I told you I have to feel that he's a protector, a provider. And I'm not talking about paying my bills. I mean, but he's going to provide that security for me, like the support that you were talking about, like when you're encouraging and when you bring out the best in that person. So if I'm not seeing him as a protector, as someone who's going to be in a sense, my support when I need it, because I'm strong, but there are times when I need that man in my ear telling me, baby, don't, what you doing? Stop. You worried about the wrong thing. Just stop. Come here. Come here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
that bass in the voice. I need that shoulder to cry on. I need that. Let me breathe. That waiting to exhale moment. Let me breathe. You take the load for a minute so I can just rest. If I can't feel that in him, I'm not committing. And then there comes the thing. If when I'm all wound up, if he can't take me in his arms and make me forget everything to where I don't remember what I was upset about at that moment, it has disappeared. No, then we're not. I'm not going to commit. I'm not going to commit because that is, for me, I can only speak for me. That is what is going to make me say, this is the man that I can leave, forsake all others, not worry about what else is going on in the world, because he gives me what I need.
Mm-hmm. And
that's the man that I would marry. That's the man that I would marry. So the wifely duties, I understand. I mean, I may not buy a house with you if you're my boyfriend. I may not open a bank account with you if you're my boy. There's certain things I might not do. But as far as sex is concerned, to me, that's not a wifely duty. To some women, it is. All right. To me, sex is cementing the relationship and deciding if you're compatible. And if we're not compatible sexually, for me, then I'm not even going to let myself fall in love with you. You know what I'm saying? So
talk
that's
that talk. Talk that talk. Yeah.
So, another thing that there's a couple more things that I wanted to bring up before we get off of here.
Okay.
You feel that there's such a thing as good men, good women, this whole, or do you feel a different side of that coin? Do you feel like women go for the bad boys and the good men get left in the dust?
Nah, it just depends on it's again, that's based on perspective and perception. What's good, I've seen I've seen some very comical situations. I don't know if that still applies anymore in this day and age. I don't think that applies anymore. Good guys get stuff just as much as bad boys do. You know, um, there's a demographic for both.
Mm.
You know, I think now, and like I said, with social media and the way that we're meeting people nowadays, the good guy or the bad guy uh, really doesn't matter at this point. I think the woman is going to like who the woman is going to like. The only positive that I will say that can come from this is the fact that there's no physical pressure.
Mm.
The pressure's not there anymore. Like back in the, if a woman was attracted to a man or whatever, her urge would be, okay, them panties are going to fall, and then she might feel a way about it or whatever, because, they might feel, oh, I gave it up too quick, or, he might not respect me or whatever, or from the guy perspective is like, she, whatever he's going to think about it, you know. But the good guy, bad guy, I don't think that really, nah, not with social media, not anymore.
Well, every time I see that post, I say I don't really believe in good guys and bad guys in terms of you have to decide what's good for you. You have to decide what's right for you. Because a lot of people say a good man is someone who's, responsible and has a job and has stability. That is not enough for me to decide I want to be in a relationship with someone. We have to have compatibility. So whoever I'm compatible with, whoever I have chemistry with, whoever I have great communication with, yes, I'm looking for him to have character and to be trustworthy and things like that. But if just because a man has a job and a house and a car and has achieved certain status in life, that doesn't mean that I have anything in common with him or that he's attractive to me at all. Mm-hmm. And so I think sometimes there are men who feel, in a sense, entitled, and women too, because they have achieved certain things that everybody's supposed to be falling at their feet. And no, for me, that's not what's going to attract me to you. What's going to attract me to you is more of our personal interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to live with your resume. I have to live with you.
Put that on a t-shirt. Speak louder in the back so the people could hear you. You heard? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, and so your resume is nice. I'm glad that you achieved all that. I definitely will support you in adding to it, but that is not what's going to make me want to be your woman.
Yeah. And if I may interject, the good guy, bad guy thing, you know what's so funny? They automatically assume the good guy that doesn't have the ability to lay it down. They feel he's a good guy, he's boring. Like he can't spread it apart and put in work. And that's the thing that I really couldn't understand, because I'm like, a man is a man, regardless to what. He could be a bad boy and be terrible in bed. He's boring. He can't, there's no excitement when it comes to that, when it comes to, sexual, because that's all it is. That's all it is just the sex part. If he's a good man and he's responsible, he's financially and fiscally responsible, he handles his business or whatever, every woman wants that.
Yeah.
Every woman wants to feel that she's stable. Every woman wants to know, when she walks in, her bills are paid, there's food on the table, car notes, bills, everything taken care of financially. She doesn't have to worry about anything. So when you hear about the good guy, bad guy thing, it's only one thing. It's the sex part. Will he be able to put it down in the bedroom, pull that hair, arch that back, and do what he do? Yeah. And that's the bad part about it. The bad part about it is that if he's, you got bad guys that can't do that, or considered bad guys that can't do that.
Right. Quotation marks around bad guys. Mm-hmm. It's okay. This is the word for me, swag, right? It's that confidence. It's that swagger, right? It's that, okay. I heard this said one time, an alpha walks into the room and everybody knows it. He doesn't have to say anything, right? Meaning an alpha male. Okay. So to me, most women that I've known, all right, we have this instinctive draw to men that radiate a certain level of masculinity and a certain level of confidence and what a lot of people call swag, right? Mm-hmm. That it just is. It is what it is. And if you are kind of melt into the woodwork, wallflowerish, it may take women a little bit to notice you're even there, because you're not what draws our eye automatically until you say something or do something that draws our eye. You show up in a really fly suit, or you wear this really nice cologne, or something that draws us, but in general, you're not catching our eye right off the bat because you're just not walking in with that aura that says, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, you know, it's like, it is what it is. So I don't apologize as a woman for being attracted to masculine men who have some confidence and, you know, I think Jill Scott says something like, you know, I'm a Philly girl and a man has to know how to handle me. He has to have that bass in his voice. He has to, because I'm strong, you know, and if he doesn't have that, I could walk all over him. But when he looks at me and he's got that, you know, that really, you know, like, girl, you know, hey, you doing too much. And he doesn't even have to say anything, but just the whole vibe. He puts that vibe out and, okay, let me back off. Let me calm down. So I think that, and I know I've heard, okay, let me say it this way. I've heard that men hate this statement. He's got to be able to handle me, you know. And I heard one man on a Facebook post, I saw it, say, "What are you, a horse?" You know, and I used to say that all the time, and I stopped because men had such a negative reaction to it. But even though I don't say it, it's still there, you know. So, you know, if I'm a woman, right, and I have this need to feel like, here is this man who, by his presence or by his aura or by his whatever you want to call it, masculinity, if I you know, he's just gonna there's gonna be these boundaries, and there's gonna be these barriers, these, you know, these things that, you know, if I start to get a little too close to whatever he feels I shouldn't do, he's going to react in a certain way. You know, so I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but
let me go ahead and
doesn't bring that out. Okay.
Let me go ahead and speak about this alpha male stuff real quick.
Which a lot of people say didn't exist.
Yeah. That's in my opinion, that's BS. It's BS. End of the day, it's about confidence.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's nothing but confidence.
Right.
You know, like a couple of women have called me a beta guy. Couple, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's how you feel. That's fine. But never ever have in my life has an alpha male walked in my presence and I felt the way. I've never in my life ever felt any way. Like, not at all. Not at all. I might not be as combative. I might not be as intrusive. I might not be how can I explain it? I don't know. Women have this totally different concept of what an alpha male is. And all it boils down to is, in my opinion, again, I'm based on my opinion, an alpha male to you could be totally different to an alpha male to another woman.
Yeah.
His ability to handle you is totally different from the way another man will handle you.
Yeah, I agree with
you. You know what I mean? And that's based on communication. And that's based on just knowing the woman that you're with.
Yeah.
If I know for a fact, like if we're together and I think you're doing too much, how is it alpha telling you, babe, calm down? What are you doing? Relax. That's alpha?
No, okay. I
like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Probably when they said you were a beta, because you have the ability to fall back, right? You have the ability to fall back. You don't need the spotlight. You don't need some, in a sense, alphas have to be front and center. Everybody has to know I'm the leader of the pack kind of thing. But see, to me, a real leader doesn't have to say anything and doesn't need the spotlight, right? People follow them instinctually because they trust them, and to me, that's who you are, right? You generate trust by the way you behave, the things you say, your character, that's leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see how a woman who is expecting something more overt might say that's beta, because you're not always overt. You're more like, you're the kind of person to be like, you know what? You didn't believe what I said. I'm not going to tell you again. Just watch. You don't have to prove yourself. And they're used to maybe a guy who'd be beating his fist on the, table, with all that bravado. Nah, so that's probably what they meant,
Yeah, alpha from a female perspective is based on, again, everything is based on perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on their perception of what they consider an alpha male to be. You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't take an alpha male to handle his woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's his woman. He knows his woman straight. Like, he knows his woman.
Yeah.
Period. So you don't have to be some guy, like, walking around all machismo or whatever to handle something that's already yours. That's yours.
I love it.
You know what I mean? That's yours.
Yeah.
And whatever's mine, I take care of. It's not about handling anything. I take care of it. I preserve it, and I make sure that it's in good hands. And I make sure that whatever goes on in life, whatever goes on in her life, whatever, she doesn't have to face it alone. That's alpha.
You probably get like 1,000 inboxes after this broadcast.
Yeah, that's alpha. So all that other stuff that you hear, man, that's nonsense. That's all. That's a bunch of BS, man. We alphas and betas are. A man is a man. A man is a man, and he's going to treat you accordingly.
Okay, I got one last question for you. What do you think about the friend zone? Right now, I'm gonna phrase it this way. So, this guy posted on his page, what is it with women who want to have relationships? Why can't we just start off as friends? And I said, my response was,
come on, a man said that?
Yeah, a man said this. Yeah.
Wow.
A man said this.
Wow.
It could be because he's a Southern man. We've had this discussion about how it seems like Southern men and Northern men have two different perspectives.
I never in my life, but okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
My response was, I don't want to ever start off as a friend with a man, in terms of, if I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you from jump. I'm not seeing you as a friend. And my qualifications for friendship are different from my qualifications to be my man.
Right.
I'm looking for chemistry, compatibility, right? And great communication with my man. I may be just looking for great communication with a friend. I don't need the chemistry. I don't necessarily need a high level of compatibility, because we might only be compatible in one area as a friend. So it's two totally different scenarios. Now, I do need to develop some of the same, I need to trust you. We need to have, there's certain things that I have in common with my friends, but I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to date you and then see how much compatibility we have, then go from there to us being exclusive, right? But I believe in starting off as friends. I would never say, let's start off as friends. No.
I ain't never heard no man.
Not me.
I ain't never heard no man say that in my life. But what I'll say is this. Friendship is very important, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a time. Well, I mean, and I'm going to keep this as PG as possible. The coochie's not going to be wet as much. The penis is not going to be hard as much. And all you really have is each other. There's not going to be any, nothing really physical, nothing out there. And you have to deal with that person to person. You know what I mean? So friendship is very important. I have to like you.
Oh, yeah.
It's very important. I have to like you. Like, I'd really have to like you in order for me to even proceed in a relationship.
Yeah.
But that comes with time.
Yeah.
Getting to know you, getting to, spending time with you or whatever. But most men, I can't say all now because you're telling me Southern men, but most men, that's not their first no. That's not their first thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their first thought. Now, a lot of the times when we approach it that way, there are some women that'll be like, oh, all you want is sex. So the first thing you think about is the sex. Yes, we do. We're not gonna lie about it. But what bothers me is that if a woman who's dealing with a man didn't find her sexually attractive, that would be a problem.
Mm.
That would be a problem. So how you gonna fault me for something that I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm gonna sexualize you or whatever, and every other word that come out my mouth is ooh wee, something crazy. No, none of that. But that initial thought, yeah, yeah, I want to see this, and yeah, I want to taste that, and yeah, I want to feel this, and yeah, that's what we do. Will it stay that way? No, it's not. It'll definitely change the more we get to know the person. But will that feeling still be there? Absolutely. But now we're getting to know you as a person. Now we're getting to know the woman that we could possibly spend the rest of our lives with. That trust, that camaraderie, that friendship is very important.
Yeah.
It's very, very important because, like you say, you have to like the person that you're with. But for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk in and I'm just gonna, just be your pal, your pal and your buddy. No, I'm sorry, no, no, that's not what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of women be like, oh, that's not the way it's supposed to be, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if I put you in the friend zone, you're going to stay there. You're not moving out. Because if I put you in the friend zone, it's because I don't see you as a relationship candidate. I
Mm-hmm.
only see you as a friend candidate. I value our interaction and I want to keep you close, but I want to keep you close platonically.
Would he be so he's not even considered FWB at that point if he's in the friend zone?
I think that there's a gray zone because to me, to be a FWB, there has to, for me, it had to start off with an attraction. And then we're like, oh, we are not on the same page. This is not going to go anywhere. But there is an option. There's a third option.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was completely platonic and I was not attracted to you at all, no, I wouldn't want you to be um, my lover. No, I mean, mm-mm. you know, that's just me.
Yeah, I never heard no man ever walking into approaching a woman wanting to be friends initially. No, I've never seen that. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be. I've never done it. I've never approached a woman with the sole intention of let's be friends. No, I haven't. And I might consider it to be a Neanderthal, a caveman, a dog, whatever the case you want to call me, but it is what it is. At that point, no. My intention is to get you. If I approach you, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah, and I love that.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like that's me.
Some women have said on Facebook and Instagram that it seems like men are not pursuing, they don't have that mentality anymore. Like, I'm coming to get you. They don't have that mentality anymore. They're waiting for the women to approach them. They're waiting for whatever they're waiting for. I don't know.
That's the leveling of the playing field now.
Mm,
That's social media. My social media has women have men just on that pedestal as women.
mm,
You know what I mean? Because there are so many women on Facebook, there are so many women on these dating apps, there are so many women on these singles groups that are looking for men. They're looking for men. So now you have like I said, you have a good looking guy who makes really good money, beautiful home, and a nice car. Now he's a commodity at this point.
mm.
He's a commodity at this point. Now it's not. Now he doesn't necessarily have to dig into the bag and see whatever he get. Now he can sit back and just wait for everything else to come in.
Gotcha.
You know
Gotcha.
what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's all based on perspective. Everything is based on perspective, sweetie.
Gotcha. Well, I think we went through all my questions, all the things that I wrote down. Is there anything else you want to say before we end this little broadcast?
Oh man, I just want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. You know, if you're single and you're out there and you haven't found anybody, just trust, man. It's going to happen. Whatever you put out there in the universe, it will definitely find you. So for those that are in relationships, God bless. For those that are looking for relationships, just keep looking, just keep persevering, and I'm sure you will find something. But for the most part, just happy Valentine's Day and have a great week coming up.
All right. And everybody out here in Houston and surrounding areas, everybody who's dealing with the cold, stay warm.
Oh, man. Well, I'm in New York, so, you know, that's a given for us.
Yeah. And I'm in Houston where we're supposed to be hitting 17 soon. But
good luck with that.
I know. So, ladies, you know, I had this great conversation with this guy that I'd slid into his DM and he responded. And we still talk, all the time, as you can see. So maybe you should slide into that little dude's DM and see what happens, you know? Especially if he's not all the way across the nation, you know.
You know what I mean? And for the fellas, just keep it respectful, man. That's all. Just keep it respectful. Keep it light. Keep it respectful.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this Valentine's Day, and may you walk in Zennurgy. Good night.
Good night.
My name is Zennurgy, and I have a weekly podcast called Zennurgy, which is fuel for the mind, body, and soul. And this is the Zennurgize Your Life Goal Setting Package, Volume 1. It comes with the workbook, a journal, stickers, a bookmark, tabs, and a QR code where you can find my podcast. And inside this workbook, you're going to have 16 different principles. The first one, I'm going to show you mine, is abundance. You have a place to put pictures that inspire you of role models, also pictures of goals that you want to create, goals, journal prompts, meditations, affirmations, all kinds of things to help you focus on this principle to better your life. And like I said, there's 16 principles. So this is a $15 package that comes with all of these things I've shown you, $21 with shipping and handling, and you can get it at laughsandlyrics.com. So Zennurgize your life with me. Thank you.